Well, this may be my last video that I'm going to be making from this studio location. I kind of have spent a lot of time here and I like it, but I've been rebuilding my shop, and some of you have seen some of my new videos that I've made out in the shop, and the new shop out there also has its own studio that we are remodeling. And let me know, do you want me to bring some of the stuff in the back you see back here in the background? You think that should be in my new studio out there? Or I'm kind of wanting to be a little more cleaner, sleek, or whatever. I don't know. Leave a comment. Let me know. Hey, everybody. David Burns. Good to be with you today. Going to be talking with you today about 10 ways to make money in beekeeping. And boy, I imagine that a lot of you are probably feeling the crunch of beekeeping. And whether you've been keeping bees for a long time, you're having to buy beekeeping equipment, new supers every year, probably, expanding your operation. So you're buying maybe a new extractor every now and again, and you're just, pouring the money out into this beekeeping hobby. And some of you are brand new starting in the spring, and you've got sticker shock because you're like, wow, I had no idea that beekeeping was so expensive. How do we reverse this shelling out of money to be a beekeeper to start bringing some money back into our pockets, right? How many of you out there, leave a comment if you don't want your significant other to know exactly how much money you have spent in beekeeping. Come on. You probably don't want to know. The first thing, I'm going to give you some obvious ones that you can do to make money. Then I'm going to give you some things that aren't the traditional things that you would normally think of. The first obvious one is honey cells. Now, when I first started beekeeping, I decided the best way for me to make money was by having a whole bunch of hives and having a whole bunch of honey. And so I had big automated equipment, big automated extractors, radial extractors. I had a big processing room with, big pipes where the honey flows out of the extractor and where it goes. Had an automated uncapping machine, a cow and uncapper, and then all of that drains into a pit, was pumped out with a honey pump. Honey pumps are costly, and it pumps it in up pipe into a big double-walled, double-lined heated tank out there, and all that stuff. Ooh boy, lots of money trying to make a living on honey is what I tried to do for a while. So you can make money on honey, certainly, but are you going to be able to replace your career job with honey cells? I don't think so. Not unless you have, thousands upon thousands of colonies. Honey cells for anywhere from, $10 to $20 a pound is what most places are charging for honey. And so it's a lot of work. It takes a lot of hives. Now you can make extra sideline money. You can make money to help you out. Honey is probably the main thing that people think of when they think, I can make honey. I think it's possible that you can make enough money on honey each year, if you're a very good beekeeper, to actually pay off your expenses and make a little bit of extra money every year. I think that's possible. I really do. Let's say you're a brand new beekeeper. You start out with one hive. You don't expect honey your first year because they use the incoming nectar to build, metabolize it to make wax, draw their wax out. But let's say you get lucky and your first year you make, let's go crazy and say 100 pounds of honey. Okay, so you make 100 pounds and it sells for, let's be conservative, $10 a pound. You make $1,000, right? You're gonna have to buy bottles to put your honey into. Even if you don't buy fancy ones, you go to Walmart or somewhere and buy canning jars, you're still gotta buy those. And legally, you've gotta make labels. So you gotta have somebody print you some labels to stick on your honey jar with the proper information, which I've made a video about. Anyway, but you could still soak up a lot of your expenses your first year just selling honey. The second year, you're making more money because you don't have those expenses. If all goes well, like I said, you're a really good beekeeper. All right. So honey cells, there are people that make a lot of money on honey and they know how to do it. They make a lot of honey. They have a lot of hives. They have it all worked out. They watch their money closely. They watch the budget on how they, what they spend to get that honey in a bottle. And they have good places to sell it. If you make $20 a pound, well, then you've doubled your income. So be wise. Don't try to undersell. You worked hard. You've spent a lot of money, maybe even added expenses of chemicals, treatments for your bees, your mites. And so don't sell yourself short. Get that price up where you can make a little money. Nothing. You should not be ashamed of making money on a business adventure. There's nothing wrong with that. If you need to charge $15 a pound to make ends meet or to pay off what your investment is, charge $15 a pound. That's your price. If people don't want to pay it, they don't have to pay it. Don't walk around feeling ashamed because somebody down the road's only charging $5 a pound. I mean, if somebody down the road is charging $5 a pound, buy that honey and resell it for $10 a pound. That's business. All right. Now, another way, second way is you can buy, or you can get into things like you can sell your wax. When you get to be having several hives and you've got extra wax, you can sell your wax, or you can use the wax to make candles. This is a big thing. A lot of time you'll have one person in the family that's really into beekeeping. The other person's really into selling some other things that comes out of the hive, like the wax, turning that into a candle business, candle making business, because a lot of people prefer candles. They say that they burn more cleaner than, your typical candles do. You can also make lip balm, you can make soap, you can make so many different things. If you do your homework, you can actually sell more things than just honey out of the hive. And another thing that you can sell, I'll throw all these in one pile, I think. I think I have them all. Yeah, okay. You can also sell the propolis. You can sell the royal jelly. There's just so many different things that you can collect and sell out of the hive. Now, those are a little more challenging. A lot of people think they're going to be a millionaire selling royal jelly. It's hard to retrieve it. You have to take it out of queen cells usually as they mature. It's a little bit of work, but hey, making money has always required working hard. Am I right? I mean, even if you set up some passive income, everybody wants to make passive income. Passive income is investments, would be a passive income. But here's the deal. People say I'm making passive income. Okay, you are if you invest some money and it turns a profit, but what did you do to make enough money to invest? You worked hard. So it's tough unless you're just born into a lot of money. You got to work, you got to start somewhere making money so the money makes money for you, right? And that's the way it is in beekeeping. So you can look at beekeeping, but you have to approach it like, I got to be business savvy. I need to know how to make money selling my products. So we got honey, we got all the other items that come out of the hive. Now, here's a big one that a truckload of people, 2 truckloads of people are getting involved in. I'd say that I'm exaggerating. Everybody's doing this. Most beekeepers today, they get into beekeeping, and lo and behold, it doesn't take long at all until they're trying to make money on beekeeping. I make a living on beekeeping. I'm not faulting that at all. I'm just saying it used to not be that way. It used to be that most beekeepers weren't running a beekeeping business. It wasn't long ago that beekeepers just became beekeepers to keep bees and maybe sell their honey, but bees. But now, so many beekeepers are turning their bees into some kind of a business. And so what that does, it means that a lot of people, and this is a third way that you can make money, and you might as well join the huge crowd of people doing this. I'm telling you, everybody's doing this. Everybody on every corner. There are 2 beekeepers on every corner selling equipment. They're selling packages. They're selling nukes. They're selling queens. They're reselling a lot of these things. A lot of beekeepers can't make their own packages up or their own nukes up. So they have to, they go down to Georgia. They work out a deal there with Southern big beekeepers down there to bring packages back up to the north and all that. But that's a way that a lot of people today are trying to make a buck. And they sell. You'll see on first, if you go back in history, though, they were a beekeeper. And then as they grew, I was the same way. Of course, it was different when I did it. There wasn't so many people doing it. But now everybody's doing it, which I don't think that's a bad thing. I think America is particularly built on competition. America is built on the freedom to run your own business. And it doesn't really matter if a guy down the road's running a business just like yours. And when people ask me what I think about that, I think it's fine. Because I think we should get better quality as a result of competition. I think we should get better service because if just one person is selling everything to us, they don't have to worry about treating us badly, or they don't have to worry about not having the best of quality because they're the only person around. So that's why I think it's not a bad idea. I think it is more difficult because one person may sell a hive at this price, a little further down the road, another guy is selling at that price. And a little further down the road, it gets cheaper. And before long, you have to do a little homework to realize, why is he able to do it cheaper? Well, maybe he doesn't have as much overhead. The other people do. Their company is a little bigger. They have more overhead, so they have to charge you more for their product. But you could, and many people do, they start their own beekeeping equipment business. I think you could start making your own equipment. Yeah, if you're really savvy in construction, woodworking, You could start turning out beehives, sell them out of your garage, you know, just start out with you don't have to be an LLC to start with. I mean, it's probably better, but if you want to be a sole proprietor, hey, it doesn't matter. Now, a lot of you starting businesses, like when we started our business, and where I live in Illinois, and we started our business so many decades ago, but we did have to apply for a business license, and then we had to get, you know, a business checking account. Then you have to like for us, we have to go to the state of Illinois and we have to pay taxes on things that we sell. You have to get a tax license, reseller license. There's all these legal things. So don't make the mistake. And particularly here's something too. You guys I think this is coming up, but I'll say it now. I'll come back. I'll cycle back to it. But if you want to be another way to make money on beekeeping is, and I'm going to jump ahead and let me come back. Sorry, but it's making videos. So on YouTube, if you hang out on YouTube, you know, after a few years, you could probably get your channel monetized, and that means YouTube will start giving you money for each video that you make. Now, the reason I'm bringing that up now in the place of number 3, reselling equipment, is because a lot of people that start a YouTube channel forget to realize that the money that you make on YouTube, which probably isn't very much at all in the scheme of things, but the money, every penny that you make on YouTube will be taxed, and you're going to be taxed as a self-employed person. Depending on your tax bracket and how it all works out, it can be as much as 50% of what you make goes to pay your taxes, because nobody's taking out your half of Social Security and all that stuff. You're going to have to pay about 30 to 50% of the money you're making on YouTube. Hold it. Don't spend it. Because let's say you made, well, let's just be, you know, let's be gracious and say you made $1,000 on YouTube this year. You're going to pay $500, $300 to $500 in taxes, because that's self-employment. YouTube keeps track. They send it to the government. I think they send me a W-2 or 1099. I can't remember, but it all has to be filed. Don't spend your tax money if you make a lot of money and then get stuck paying a lot of money and be surprised. But I'll talk about that in a minute. So you could resell and you can run a beekeeping business. I would caution you, if you start a beekeeping business, do it correctly. Have an accountant work it out with you. Have your tax agent working out with you. Go to a financial advisor, a business advisor. There's a lot of laws you have to follow, and you know you have to do workman's comp if you pay employees to work for you. You have to do so many things. So be careful not just to start something in your backyard and as it grows, or in your garage, and as it grows, you don't stay up on all the things that you have to do, because once you get surprised and realize you have to do them, then you might think, ouch. All right, so anyway, that's a way to make money. Hey, all businesses have to be ran like a business, even a bee business. So it's a way for you to make money. Start your bee business. Everybody's doing it. So it's not that hard to do, actually. You just got to be savvy. All right, so part of that, reseller, selling equipment, packages, nukes, equipment. You can sell queens. I made a whole video on how selling 100 queens a week got me out of a big financial burden in one summer. So you can make good money selling queens, really can. So if you learn how to raise queens, then you get, you know, pretty good at it. You got a really good way of turning them over really quickly, high quality queens. You can always find a bunch of people that want your queens. That really happens fast. To do this, to resell equipment, packages, nukes, queens, all this stuff like that, got to have one thing. You got to have this. Got to have a website. That's why I said these aren't traditional ways anymore. You're not going to be able to, I don't even know if it's really all that worth having a shop anymore. I guess it is for some people. But you know, look at the stuff people buy today online. And no one's going to drive up to these companies and buy anything. They buy them online, they ship them to you. So a lot of people today getting into beekeeping are not accustomed to going somewhere to buy things. They want to be able to buy it online with a credit card, which means you got to have a credit card processing company, let you run credit cards and all that stuff. Anyway, you've got to have a website if you're going to really sell things today. The way that I was able to really get my queen rearing business, queen sales up, is already had a website established selling equipment. So then I just said, hey, I got queens for sale, and I would put them online. And that was real simple to do. People buy them online, we ship them out. So that's going to be really important. If you know websites, or if you can figure out how to do it. All right, let's talk about another thing. A lot of people today are starting conferences. I see that really being something that's getting a lot of traction. Conferences are taking a little bit of different approach. and they are different, a little bit different than the traditional conference, though not really. A traditional conference is this. It's when you get some speakers to come and speak, and you set a price of how much money you want each of your people that come to your conference. You set a price, how much you want them to pay. And then you talk to vendors, because you can make money on vendors, right? You can sell a vendor spot to vendors, and vendors want to be there where the people are so they can sell their product. And so it's kind of a win-win. You can start a conference and you can have something cool going on. You can have some good speakers. You can have some vendors there. People can buy products, and you can serve some good food or something. And before long, you got a bee conference going. That bee conference can pick up and start growing. I have seen at least 10 to 20 conferences recently start within the last 5 years that started kind of small, and now they're gaining traction each year. And some of those have become really big. They're in the South, they're in the East, they're in the West, they're way up North. I see these conferences starting. And so you could, if you have conference experience or the patience to learn how to hold a conference, I'd encourage you to start small. Start a conference and have 30 people over that first year. Next year, see if you can get 300. The next year, see if you can get 3,000. I'm just sharing ways that you can make money in beekeeping, okay? I said some would not be traditional ways. Honey's traditional. All the products from the hive, that's a traditional way. Reselling equipment, packages, nooks, and queens, pretty traditional way of doing it. Conferences, ooh, start your own conference. Yeah, I know before COVID hit, we had classes in this facility. Many of you took our classes here, and it was not hard at all to have a large gathering show up to take different kind of classes here. And we limited it. We could have definitely had a lot more people, but we were limited by size. At one point, we moved to a larger facility to accommodate the size, so you could chase that down too. So charge a ticket price, figure out how you're going to make money. Conferences, all right? So that's number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4 is conferences. Number 5, caring for other people's bees. Have you thought about that? That's interesting, isn't it? I'm not going to mention the person's name, but I work with another gentleman at EAS, and he goes around, and some people want to have bees on their property, but they don't want to care for them. They don't want to know bees, but they want bees because they feel like bees, and they help pollination and all that. And they want some of the honey. They think it's that's a novelty to them to have a beehive in their backyard, and they pay him to keep their bees going. That's right. I know a lot of people that do this, actually. There's a whole business that does this. I think it's in the Northeast somewhere, but I'm not going to say the name of that business either, but they actually hire people to work for them so that they go around and they plant beehives in people's yards and they take care of them. So you can offer that service to other people right now. You could just say, no matter where you live in Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, New York, California, the whole US, if you live in Australia, wherever you live around the world, you can figure out a way. I always love doing that to see what kind of dog reaction I get. But you can knock on somebody's door and say, hey, have you ever thought about being a beekeeper? I'm going around asking people if you're willing to be a beekeeper. I'd come and bring a hive and I'd take care of it for you, give you a couple of jars of honey at the end of the year, all that stuff. You could do that, Hey, you want to make money on beekeeping. I know some of you may not want to work this hard, but if you were in a tough situation, there are a lot of ways that you can make money with honeybees, caring for other people's bees. All right, let's move on to the next one. Well, we're halfway through the ways to make money in beekeeping. Bobblehead David is here to say, please subscribe. He's always stealing the spotlight, making the camera focus on his eyes instead of mine. I hope he didn't do that. I never can tell. But subscribe if you can. Hit the subscribe button. Doesn't cost you anything. It's a way for you to be notified each time I make a new video. Let's get into number 6, way to make money in beekeeping. Speaking and writing articles and writing books. There are some people, I think, that make a lot of money speaking at beekeeping conferences. I am not one of them. I mean, don't get me wrong. I get paid when I speak somewhere, but some people get paid a lot of money when they speak somewhere. I'm just, I don't know. I have a hard time asking, for thousands of dollars when I speak somewhere, but some people do. Anyway, you can write articles. I do write for Bee Culture magazine. Might be the oldest. I'm going to say it's the oldest beekeeping magazine right now until you correct me. I don't remember when the American Bee Journal came out, but anyway, I know bee culture has been around since the mid 1800s, I think. Anyway, I write an article for them each month. I have a column in their magazine, and they pay me. I mean, is it a lot of money? No, it's not a lot of money, but it's an income. So in all these things, I should have started with this. To really be successful in making money in beekeeping, you shouldn't have one avenue of income. You shouldn't have two avenues of income. Like, don't think you're going to make a lot of money in beekeeping if you're just going to try to have one single flow of income of honey, or one flow of income of honey and queen rearing. The more avenues, tentacles of income streams that you have coming in, some of those streams may not make you a lot of money, but a little bit of money here, a few dollars coming in for speaking, a few dollars coming in for writing an article, a few dollars coming in for selling some lip balm at your table, a few dollars coming in because you're reselling beekeeping equipment, a few more dollars coming in because you started a conference and you got people love your conference. It's growing every year. You got money coming in. You started caring for other people's bees, and that's bringing an income in. See, whoa. I mean, I think that's the ticket right there. I really do. So you just keep thinking, okay, I might make a few bucks speaking, teaching about beekeeping, writing some articles. Hey, you don't have to be asked to write an article. You can write your own article right now. I don't think Jerry would be opposed at all if you wrote an article and submitted it to Bee Culture. I think he'd love to get it, and he would pay you for it if he accepted it, right? And they would too at the American Bee Journal. They'd love to get an article from you. So you could start writing and just submit these, find their address and shoot. I've always, I can't tell you what I used to do in my other career, but I wrote a lot. Not part of my career, but while I was in the other career, I wrote a lot of articles, and not about beekeeping, but about a whole bunch of different subjects. I would write articles. I had a lot of stuff published, and I would make money. I had a big family, and it was nice to get $50 for writing an article. Dang, $50 was like a lot of money for me. And you could write a book. Now, writing a book, it might be hard these days. Am I still in focus? Yeah. It might be hard these days to get a publisher to accept a beekeeping book. Some do, some will. Books, I don't think, make a ton of money for their authors anymore, unless you're writing a novel and it gets made into a movie. I think you can make money. It's another income stream, and you can make a book. Now, you can make your own book, and I think that's the way to go. I think if I were to write a book today, I would go through Amazon self-publish, because I think that's the easiest way to do it. And it's easy to change the book as you sell it. You see some typos in it, you can change it. You're not committed to buy a whole bunch of book up front and try to peddle them off in different places, you know. Anyway, you could write a book on beekeeping and try to sell it when you go speaking somewhere. See if you can do that. All right, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 was speaking. Number 7 is coaching and consultant. So coaching and consultant, you can actually, I know beekeeping is viewed as a hobby, and a lot of people would love to have their own private mentor nearby that they could just have that person come over free and teach them beekeeping. And they're out there, don't get me wrong. But on the other hand, some people can't afford to do that because they need to make a living with all the time that they have. So some people that want to coach others in beekeeping, they need to make a living. And so they need to actually charge for coaching or consultant work in beekeeping. And that's something that's taking on more and more. I started doing this a long time ago, but before it was even cool. Now, there's a lot of people offering coaching programs, a lot of people offering online courses like we do. A lot of people are doing that now. And that's an area you could get into as well. Formulate a plan where you could have a really good coaching consultant or online courses. You know, if you want to play the piano, you go online and you can go on YouTube and find somebody teaching piano, and then they have an online course, and you can sign up to learn the piano on their private course or something. Again, I'm saying these are non-traditional ways. You don't have to do them. I'm giving you 10 ideas. I'm a think tank. That's what I do. I think about ways like this to help you out. So this may be your skill set. You may have stopped working at a large corporation because you were a consultant for a large business, or you were a coaching business people in a large business, and it was too stressful. You wanted to work in nature more. You wanted to work in your beekeeping operation more. Hey, why not use your coaching and consultant skills to help beekeepers? And the neat thing about beekeeping, and I'm just going to lay it out there, and here's my take on it. I can work with one person, And I could have one person come over here free of charge, and I could work, let's say I work 6 hours that day helping you become a beekeeper. Okay, that's cool. Nothing wrong with that, right? I do that a lot. I give a lot of time out free like that. You've watched me do that on videos. However, if I'm going to take that same energy and knowledge that I gave to one person, wouldn't it be better for the beekeeping community if I gave that day to 5 people or 10 people, or went online and gave it to 1,000 people? See, your knowledge helps more people if you use it correctly. And there's nothing wrong with getting paid for helping others with the knowledge that you paid to get. I mean, a lot of people don't feel good about that, but hey, that's what happens. It works in every other field. It works when you go to the doctor. The doctor paid a lot of money to go get to be a doctor, understand how to be a doctor. So that physician is charging you a lot of money to diagnose a health condition. And so is the lawyer, so is the electrician, the plumber, the mechanic. It's something that is happening to beekeeping now with consultant and coaching expenses that may be good. Now let's talk about YouTube. What about starting a YouTube channel? When I started my YouTube channel, there weren't many YouTube channels out there. I have thought, and I don't know for sure, but I think I might be the oldest YouTube channel, the longest running YouTube channel maybe, that started on beekeeping. So YouTube has changed a lot since when I started. YouTube used to be a place where it wasn't as crowded, it wasn't as competitive as it is now. Now, not only do almost all the beekeepers have their own business, they're selling things, but now almost all beekeepers have a beekeeping channel, which is great. Like I said, I love competition. I love the collaboration we have between each other on our YouTube channels. I love that people have choices and a variety. Some people like me, some people don't like me. Some people like the other guy better, they like me better. Hey, that's what life is about. There's nothing wrong with that. Nobody should be hurt or offended. So it is a crowded space to get your beekeeping channel in there in the mix, but it doesn't matter. Look how many gas stations there are. I have one particular gas station that I like to go to because I get this little discount if I buy so much gas, And but there are times that I don't see one of those brands around. I'm in a different state. I just pull off at the first gas station I think that I need gas to buy at. So it's not a bad thing. People are still going to hit on your channel if you start a beekeeping channel. It's not going to make me feel like you're competing with me. I hope you do start a channel. People would love to hear you and see your channel. And after you got monetized, you could start making money on YouTube. But I'll warn you, it would be rare for you to make a lot of money on YouTube. There are people that do it. But most people on YouTube that are making a lot of money are not using educational type channels to make a lot of money. Very few are. Most of the people making big time money are doing entertainment videos like Mr. Beast. You know that name? He's got to be making millions upon millions. Like I think one of his videos is always like $1 million or $2 to produce. So he's got to be making that money back. All right. So he's making a lot of money. And so you can make money on YouTube, but the way to do it, I think, is if you are selling honey and bees and nukes and materials, and you are holding a conference, now you started your own conference and you are caring for other people's bees, you're writing, you're speaking, you're producing a book, you're coaching people. Now you got a YouTube channel. Most people making money on YouTube are using their channel to let people know that they have all these other things available. And you see that with, I think, all the beekeepers that I know or look at, in some way, they are hoping that their channel will bring people back to buy their packages or to come to their store and look through their items for sale or to take their class. They all are hoping that that will be another income stream. So that channel can help you in that way as well. How many are we up to now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Number 9 is pollination. I have actually made some money on pollination. I've told you about it before. If you don't remember, I've pollinated apple orchards. I've pollinated pumpkin patches. I'm gonna have to take that call later. I pollinated pumpkin patches, and it does make money. But the part I didn't like about it is a lot of traveling with bees. And if you're doing it big time, like if you're pollinating almonds, there's a lot of agricultural checkpoints and rules and regulations and traveling like that. Do it right. Obviously, you can make a lot of money because I've heard that beekeepers are the modern day cowboys making millions of dollars transporting thousands and thousands of hives out there. getting paid 100, 200 bucks a hive to pollinate something, do the math, yeah, they're making some money. But there's expenses, right? And so you got that. But pollination, either very on an introductory level, there are companies that will come by and get your bees. Like you only may have 100 hives. Hey, if you want to send 100 to almonds, they'll come get them and bring them back and give you the money. I mean, you can do stuff like that. So there are ways to do that. The number 10, I think I'm on number 10. If I've messed up my numbers, I apologize. But number 10 is invent your solutions to solve problems. Well, wait a minute. What item is that? That's number 10. Invent your own solutions to solve problems. If you've ever gone to a conference and toured the vendors area, you will see that vendor area is full of people that are making money in this 10th area. They actually have found a way to solve a problem. And so they have a product, some type of service. They offer something to solve a beekeeping problem. And they're in front of you saying, look at this new item. It solves this problem. So they're not, a lot of those people aren't beekeepers. They don't have any bees, but they have made an item to solve a beekeeping problem. So that's something that you could do. Many of you know I've done that. I created the Winter Be Kind. I created the Burns feeding system. Beekeepers around the country love those. And so I invented those feeding solutions to solve a problem. And so that's another area that's waiting. I think it's a low-hanging fruit, actually. I see a lot of you that leave comments on my YouTube channel. And I think it's kind of cool because you will say to me, has anybody ever thought about this way to deal with that? You know, and some people have, some people haven't. But I think there's a lot of low-hanging fruit on the tree for you to invent something or create something and get it out there so that other people can enjoy a problem that they can solve with your expertise, your invention, your product, or whatever. And that's really going on pretty fantastic. So whether it's a food supplement for bees, you see a lot of those now. A lot of people are offering different kind of fondants and foods and additives and all this probiotics, a lot of things people are saying, feed this to your bees, give this to your bees. I think, we see a lot more bigger companies coming up with ways to treat for mites and so forth. So that's number 10. Folks, I think this is really, this is the secret sauce in being a profitable beekeeper. And some of you may think, man, he's giving all the secrets out. Not really. It's no secret. It's just consolidating them and kind of tapping into your brain to think it through. Well, to do a lot of these things, you're going to need experience and credibility. Experience and credibility. That means you're going to have to put your time in. And that's true with anything, right? Yeah, I can give you a lot of illustrations and how this compares to life, but I won't. You get it. In other words, if people want you to be their consultant, you got to have a few years under your belt. You've got to have some proven history, some proven experience under your belt. So you're going to have to put your time in to learn beekeeping. You really do. If you're going to sell equipment, you've got to put your time in and know wood, and you got to know equipment. If you're going to put your time in consulting people and coaching or teaching people with classes and all, you got to prove to them that you put your time out in the hot sun lifting heavy boxes for years upon years. And once they realize this guy or this gal's done it for 30 years or 10 years, they know what they're doing, they're going to have a lot of respect to learn from you. So start now getting that experience. That's the way it is with anything. Nobody walks in to become a car mechanic and with 1 year experience, and they've only been working on a car for a year, it helps if they've been working on a car for 10 years, right? I mean, it just helps to have the experience. I'm not saying you can't do it with the years. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying we've had to have some work done on our furnace. We actually had our furnace replaced. And the guy doing it, wow, did he have some years experience under his belt. He knew what he was doing because he's seen it over and over and over again. That's pretty cool to see that. It gives you credibility and confidence to put your trust in them. Now, one of the ways that you can not only get your, credibility built up is not only through experience, but once you get that experience, try to go to a place where you can become a certified master beekeeper. Hold on, you don't have to. Somebody made a comment that a certified master beekeeper is just somebody that took a bunch of tests and passed, got a piece of paper. Not really true, actually. The tests with EAS are so, thorough. If you can become a certified master beekeeper, either through an academic program, through some of the universities, or through EAS, where they test what you know through a lab test, a written test, an oral test, and a field test, I think that really is going to leave a lot of credibility in your name. If you say, when you say you're a master beekeeper, some people that gives credibility to. Other people, it kind of makes them mad that you claim to be something fancy because you've got a pen or a piece of paper. I get it. You don't have to be a master beekeeper to really know your stuff. But I'm just saying it helps, okay? Figure out a way for you to start adding to your credibility, whether it's becoming a master beekeeper or establishing yourself with customers, with a good bank of experience in the hive. You can show them what you've been doing, tell them how long you've been doing it. You're going to get the job selling them something. If you don't handle your customers the right way, if you don't know how to interact with customers to help them feel comfortable with you, they're probably not going to buy anything off of you. You know what I mean? If you, when I'm with people and they're a jerk, I don't want to buy anything off of them. You know what I mean? They might have a good product, they might know what they're doing, but I don't like the jerkness. I don't like that. I'll go somewhere else. And so you got to sell yourself to sell your product. You got to sell yourself. You got to be able to be real, be who you are, be sincere, let people know you care about them. That's what's going to really help you succeed if you show the kind of person that really wants to help beekeepers and put your best foot forward to help them. Well, thanks for watching this deep into the video. You might be starting in the spring. You might be wondering, maybe I will start beekeeping. How do I do this? Because I do need to make a little bit more money. I've got a video that was made a few years ago, but it still teaches you how to start beekeeping in spring. Take a look at it right here. I'll see you guys over there.